Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Wiggle on your Overwatch, back with a new video today. I want to go through the top 5 tips for learning a new hero. Now, you may have already mastered some heroes, but some people want to expand their horizons and learn some new ones. And I want to give you the top 5 key tips to learning new heroes. So the first thing to talk about is what is the role of the hero you want to play. Now, certain types of heroes like tanks or DPS or supports do have their own roles, but each hero individually really has its own very specific role, and how to get value out of that is how you learn them and master them and become the best at that hero that you can be. I'm going to use Zarya as an example. Learning her role is very important as soon as you can, because you need to be bubbling yourself to get charge, of course, but the bubble you can put on your teammates is not only there to get you charge, but to save them at the right time. If you bubble a Winston as he initiates, that's part of her value, and that's something you have to learn as quickly as possible. Now, when you're fully charged, yes, Zarya can do a lot of damage, which is also good, but her biggest value is in her ultimate, and learning when to use that when your team are grouped and when you're not the last one alive so you can perform a team wipe is how to get the maximum value out of her. Now, different heroes have different types of value. Lucio has the best ability in the game, which is speed boost. If you're on a team with speed boost and they don't have it, the enemy team are going to be in for a rough time. But learning these timings, when to heal and when to speed, is what's very important, and one of the first things you need to know with Lucio. The rest of his ability really lies in his ultimate to either attack offensively or defend, which is very, very powerful for him, but also he can boot people off the map, and there's a lot of value in that too. Now, there are some heroes that, in terms of value and how to get the most out of them, is actually quite simple on the face of things, like McCree or Widowmaker, who are pretty much raw damage dealers. All you need to do with these is simply get impact frags and not trash damage on the enemy team. Now, McCree's slightly different again to Widow because he also has a crowd control element with his flashbang. He can use this to kill people in the back line that are being pesky, Tracers or Genjis or something of that nature. Learning the value of your hero is one of the first things you want to understand, because it's the first step to truly mastering your hero. Another section of understanding the role of your hero is to know what maps you should be playing on. For example, if you play King of the Hill, you nearly always want Lucio's speed boost on your team. So if you're learning Lucio, you need to know when to take him. But if you're trying to learn heroes such as Hanzo or Widow, you would learn that on most maps, playing them on attack is a lot better than on defense. Whereas some heroes like Mei are generally much better for defending than attacking. Now, the roles don't all make sense, as Hanzo is a defensive hero, but he's actually better on attacks. You have to learn these as you go. But learning when to pick your hero on what map and what roles you should be doing with that hero is definitely the best place to start. Now, the next thing to talk about is learning the core mechanics of your hero. Now, this can mean a couple of things, but let's use Ryan as an example. If you're playing Reinhardt and that's who you're learning, you need to know, should you be pinning or should you have your shield up? That ratio is very, very important, because pins are great for initiation, but your team also needs shielding. You also need to learn with Reinhardt that you can't go into a fight when your shield's already damaged. You need to have that ready when you do go into the fight. Now, someone like Ryan is in the medium scale of being difficult to use, whereas you've got Lucio, whose core mechanics aren't that difficult. You speed around and it's all about decision making. On the other side of things, core mechanic heroes like McCree or Widow from the earlier example are much harder to learn. You need to learn things like crosshair placement, so make sure your crosshair is always as close to someone's head as it can be. You need to learn how to snap onto target from other targets and deal maximum damage possible. Learning these core mechanics is very important, depending on the role you are trying to learn. If you're trying to learn a tank, then a lot of the time aim isn't the most important thing, but if it's a damage dealer, then learning these raw mechanic skills are going to be very, very important. So make sure you learn crosshair placement and movement if you're looking to deal damage, and game sense is important across the board for all heroes. The last core mechanic to understand is if your hero is either a hit scan or a projectile hero. If it's a projectile, there will be a travel time and you will need to learn prediction methods on when your enemies are moving, whereas if it's a hit scan, you need to simply track them and shoot them in the face. These skills will all come over time, but learning the differences between them on the hero you're playing is one of the first important things to learn. As a quick example, McCree is a hit scan because wherever you shoot it automatically hits, whereas someone like Farah is a projectile because there's travel time on her rockets. Now, there are some heroes like Soldier 76 where his primary fire is hit scan, it will hit them instantly, but his rockets are actually a projectile and will take time to travel. The next thing to learn is one of the biggest things in Overwatch, and that is ultimates. So if you're taking a hero and they have a very, very big impact ultimate like Zarya, you need to know the win condition of that ultimate. If you use a grav when none of your team are around, you're going to lose the fight. You're throwing out probably 2 minutes of grav charge. You're throwing a lot out of the game. On the flip side to that, if you get good at using this ultimate ability, you're going to win team fights outright. Now, there are some ultimate abilities like Zenyatta's where you can only really use it defensively. Because Zen doesn't have speed boost, when he uses his ultimate, your team can't really initiate with that. Whereas Lucio's ultimate can actually be used defensively and offensively because he can speed boost the team with it. All of the ultimates, same as all of the characters' abilities, have their niche values. Someone like Hanzo, for example, his ultimate can be very, very powerful, but it usually does need to be comboed with a Zarya. So learning these synergies are very important with your teammates and knowing who you should be picking at the right time. Other heroes like McCree need to be completely set up in order to get value out of his team. Whether it be your teammates actually taking a fight and your McCree having a little bit of a flank, or just making sure the enemy's Rhine shield is down before you pop Deadeye. Very important to learn when your ultimates are viable, and sometimes if your ultimates aren't getting enough value, you do need to simply swap to another hero with a better ultimate value chance. Now this next one's very important, and that is to learn your counters and when to swap heroes. So if you are that guy that's learning Genji, maybe that's who you're learning and you've figured out how projectiles work and when to throw projectiles and the timing it takes to get to someone, and you're great at swift striking and you're good at deflecting and the movement's all there for Genji, you still need to learn your counters. So if the other team have a really, really good McCree, playing Genji is going to be rough, the same as if they have a really good Winston. Sometimes it doesn't matter how well you're playing. I recently played with a Hanzo that was playing good. The enemy simply countered him too much. It took a couple of minutes of my team arguing to convince him we didn't think he was bad on Hanzo, but just the simple change would help the team out. Funnily enough, he did change and we did win the game outright from there. Knowing when to swap is super, super important, and having more than one hero in your pool is also very, very good. So if you're new to the game, make sure you learn at least a few heroes so you've always got someone to swap to. And if you're not new to the game and this is just a new hero you're learning, make sure you keep in practice with your older heroes so you can swap back to them when the new one isn't working. Now the last one's very, very important but also quite complicated, but I will try to keep it simple, and that is, who do you synergize with as this new hero? Now someone like Lucio's speed boost, that ability synergizes with everyone in the game because everyone always wants to move faster. That's just something you always want, but there's some abilities that really do take some team skill elements to them. So say you're playing Ana and you're in the middle of a team fight and you've managed to hit a sleep dart on an enemy. You then need your team to synergize with that to maybe, if it's a Roadhog, could hook that target that slept, or someone could just go up and finish that target that has burst damage. It's very easy to lose games with a team that are very skilled mechanically but are picking heroes that don't synergize well together. This goes down for abilities and ultimates. Going back to the earlier reference, if you have a Zarya and a Hanzo combo, that's one of the strongest things in the game. The same goes if you're playing Tracer and you want to stick a pulse bomb to a Zarya. But there's also these tiny other little synergies too. If you're playing a McCree with your Reinhardt and your Rein gets pinned, you can actually bail him out of that with a flashbang. On the offensive side of the same situation and your McCree playing with Reinhardt, you could stun the enemy Rein that just has his shield up, so your Rein could pin the enemy team. Every single hero in the game has these different synergies, even down to someone like Symmetra. Now, when someone picks Symmetra on your team, that means you're playing the choke game. That means you're playing the spam game. So if you've got a Sim, you have to have a Reinhardt. You really do, to synergize with that Symmetra, because if she doesn't have the appropriate shielding to do her job, she's going to get zero value. Same goes for McCree as well. Playing him without a Reinhardt can be very, very rough unless you have the best Winston in the world. Some synergies go seriously hand in hand, like if you're playing Pharah with a Mercy that's staying with you the whole time, she can fly up to you, keep you alive, and damage boost you. When your team dies, she can res. So learning all of these different synergies is very important for basic skills, learning the game, and also ultimates as well. So guys, I know this was more of a general guide, but we get asked a lot, how do I learn a new hero? And I think that these 5 things help. You just need to make sure you understand what the role of your hero is and you go from there. All of these things will take time, and no one just pick someone up straight away. If you've already played a lot of the game, then you'll understand what these synergies are without even playing the heroes before, because you've either been on the other part of that synergy or you've just seen it work in the game as you've played it. Let us know what you guys think. The comment section is the place to go. Be sure to check out our Discord where you guys can find the Winston main of your dreams, and be sure to check out our Twitter and follow our stream where we stream every single day and tilt for your guys' enjoyment. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.